Thank you for joining me this evening. Thanksgiving is what we're celebrating here this week in America. And it's one of our most beloved holidays. This year, some of us are going to celebrate it a little differently, but it's the spirit of Thanksgiving that will still remain. And that is taking time to reflect and giving thanks to the blessings and gifts in our life. So let's start off with a little tune before we begin. As I see a beautiful morning, I see a beautiful day. I see a beautiful morning, nothing's gonna get in my way. As I see a beautiful morning, I see a beautiful day. I see a beautiful morning, why don't you come and share it with me? 'Cause I see a beautiful morning, and nothing's gonna get in our way. Alright. I wanted to think of this word, thank you. Because around Thanksgiving, that's what we hear a lot of. Giving thanks, being thankful. I brought a few words with me today, because we do say thank you a lot. And it's something that we practice throughout the year. It's something that we learn when we're young too. We learn that if somebody does something kind for us, we say thank you. Or if something wonderful in our lives happens, we say thank you. It's a sign of gratitude, being grateful, giving thanks. And when we do that, when we say thank you to somebody, it makes them feel wonderful. It does. It feels really good to hear somebody say that to you. It also makes you feel good when you're giving thanks to something. So let's take a look at some of these words. Here's our first one. Thank you. Our first two words. All right. And found this one in French. I thought this was kind of cool. A way to say thank you in French. We say merci. Merci. That's how you say thank you in French. This one was one of my favorites. You have to do this too, okay? This one's going out to my friends in Hawaii. Mahalo. Look at that one. Mahalo. So we can say thanks in Hawaii by saying mahalo. This one, now my dad taught me this one when I was young, because his side of the family is from Italy. So we say in Italy, grazie. That's how you say thank you in Italian, grazie. And this language is very similar to Italian. So it's Spanish, and how we say it in Espanol is gracias. We say thank you in Spanish by saying gracias. And that leads us up to our final word, gratitude. Gratitude, being grateful for the gifts in your life and the blessings that you have. I had a song planned before we began, a very cool story about a woman we're going to say thank you to tonight. We're going to show some gratitude too. I had a song that I had written called Thank You. And it was inspired by a book by Douglas Wood. And the book was called The Secret of Saying Thanks. And in this book, it talks about giving thanks to maybe things that we don't normally think about giving thanks to. So that inspired this next little tune that I wrote. Thank you. Thinking of like thanking your favorite tree, or thanking your favorite stuffed animal for being there with you and comforting you at night, or thanking maybe you have a favorite blanket that you sleep with, or maybe you want to thank a chair for just being there and being comfortable, or maybe sometimes you want to just give your heart a thanks. How many times do we think about our hearts? Our hearts beat all day, every day, and we don't have to ask it to. It pumps blood, which also pumps oxygen throughout our body, which helps us breathe, and helps us live our hearts. Yeah, I'm very thankful that thing keeps working when I'm sleeping and when I don't even think about it. So, here's a little tune called Thank You. Well, thank you to the sun and the moon and the stars for shining bedtime every day, we could remember to do that. And some of us do that. A lot of us do that. I know some people will give thanks maybe before their meals. Maybe you give thanks before bedtime. You give thanks in the morning when you wake up. One of my favorite things to do is yoga in the morning. Doing a big yoga stretch and doing a sun salutation and saying thank you to the sun. All right, this is the next story, the story we're about to read. This is my favorite story. I was introduced to this story over 10 years ago now, probably 12 years. So I've read this particular story every year and multiple times throughout the year. It's an amazing tale of a woman, a bold, a very brave, a stubborn and smart woman that didn't know the answer, that didn't know the word failure. She just knew that she needed to try to make the world a better place. And there were roadblocks, yes, but she was going to keep on trying and persisting. And this tale just encompasses all those, persistence, never giving up, being thankful and grateful, and making the world a better place. That's what this story just holds dear to it. So I love it. I love the story. I love the illustrations. And I know we talked about when I was doing my little promo, I said there was a secret weapon in this story. This is it. This is her secret weapon. How does this become a secret weapon? Well, we're going to find out. Do you know that this is how pens were used way, way back years ago? Quill pens. All right, this is called Thank You, Sarah. The Woman Who Saved Thanksgiving. Let's get in there. Check it out. Thank You, Sarah. By Laurie Halse Anderson and illustrated by Matt Faulkner. You think you know everything about Thanksgiving, don't you? How the Native Americans saved the Pilgrims from starving. How the Pilgrims held a big feast to celebrate and say thank you with turkey, pumpkin pie, cranberries, the works. Well, listen up. I have a news flash. We almost lost Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving canceled? No football today? Didn't know that, did you? Well, it's true. Way, way back when skirts were long and hats were tall, Thanksgiving was fading away. Oh, sure, the folks up in New England celebrated it. They'd roast a turkey and invite the relatives when the harvest came in, but not in the South, not in the West, not even in the middle Atlantic states. More and more people ignored the holiday. Thanksgiving was in trouble. It needed a superhero. Not that kind. Thanksgiving needed a real superhero. Someone that was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. Thanksgiving needed Sarah Hale. Now I know what you're thinking. She doesn't look like a superhero. She looks like a dainty little lady. Never underestimate dainty little ladies. We could have had turkey, dude. Look at that. Sarah Hale was every inch a superhero. Not only did she fight for Thanksgiving, she fought for playgrounds for kids, schools for girls, and historical monuments for everyone. She argued against spanking, pie for breakfast, doll stories, corsets, bloomers, and bustles. She argued against very serious things like slavery. As if that weren't enough, she raised 5 children. She wrote poetry, children's books, novels, and biographies. She was the first female magazine editor in America. She published great American authors like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow and Edgar Allan Poe. And she composed Mary Had a Little Lamb. And how did she do all these things? She was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. And Sarah Hale had a secret weapon. A pen. When Sarah saw something she didn't like, she picked up her pen and wrote about it. She wrote letters, she wrote articles, she wrote and wrote and wrote until she persuaded people to make the world a better place. Nothing stopped Sarah. Sarah Hale loved Thanksgiving. She wanted the whole country to celebrate it on the same day. And when folks started to ignore Thanksgiving, well, that just curdled her gravy. She picked up her pen. She wrote letters, thousands of letters, asking politicians to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. She wrote magazine articles asking her readers for help. The women of America listened. They put down their babies, their hoes, their skillets, and their washing. They picked up their pens and wrote. When the letters arrived, the politicians listened too. One by one, the states officially made Thanksgiving a holiday. That wasn't good enough. Sarah Hale wanted the whole country to celebrate together like a family. So she went to the top. Something I love about these illustrations, I'm just going to point out, maybe hard to see virtually if you're not familiar with the book, is Sarah's pen. You'll watch it. It's always aimed at what she's fighting for, or fighting against, rather. She's always aiming her pen, her secret weapon. I love that. It's fantastic illustrations. Sarah wrote to the president himself, Zachary Taylor. He refused. Did that stop Sarah? No. She waited for the next election and wrote to the new president, Millard Fillmore, and he said no. Did that stop Sarah? No, because she was bold, brave, stubborn, and smart. Sarah wrote to the next president, Franklin Pierce. Wouldn't a national day of Thanksgiving be wonderful? No, Pierce grumped. And there she is standing on her pen. I mean, how bold and brave. Here she is. I love how the illustrator puts her down here, making her look small against these president, because then, the men, they thought they were so important, more important. But not Sarah Hale. She knew that everybody was equally as important. I love that. Sarah penned an elegant letter to President James Buchanan. She gave all the reasons why America would be better off if everyone gathered on the fourth Thursday in November to give thanks. President Buchanan disagreed. He had other things on his mind. Sarah felt like the stuffing had been kicked out of her. Everything was going wrong. America was at war, the North against the South. States that had promised to celebrate Thanksgiving changed their mind. The country was falling apart. It was a bleak and scary time. Did that stop Sarah? No way. Nothing stopped Sarah. Superheroes work the hardest when things get tough. Superheroes work the hardest when things get tough. She picked up her mighty pen and wrote another letter, this time to President Abraham Lincoln. America needed Thanksgiving now more than ever. A holiday wouldn't stop the war, but it could help bring the country together. She signed the letter, folded it, and slid it into an envelope. She wrote Mr. Lincoln's name and address on the envelope and stuck on a stamp. She mailed the letter. She waited. And she waited. And then Lincoln said yes! Lincoln said yes! In 1863, President Lincoln made Thanksgiving a national holiday, a day for all Americans to give thanks together. It took Sarah Hale 38 years, thousands of letters, and countless bottles of ink, but she did it. Nothing stopped Sarah. That bold, brave, stubborn, and smart lady saved Thanksgiving for us all. Thank you, Sarah. Whew. Man, what an amazing, amazing story. And if you do happen to check this library or a book out at your local library, or if you have a copy, then you know in the back there are actual more facts for further reading about Sarah and just all the amazing and wonderful things she did. She lived an extraordinary life. She was an ordinary person that lived an extraordinary life. And isn't that all of us? Aren't we all ordinary people? We are all ordinary people, capable of living extraordinary lives. Let me share something with you that I found. Every single one of us, the young or the old, we are 7 billion pieces to this great big whole. We're just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're all just ordinary people capable of extraordinary things. There's a record of our lives in the history books, the famous, the infamous, the heroes and crooks. We're all people, but what sets us apart is how on this world we leave our mark. We're just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're all just ordinary people capable of extraordinary things. So old or young, big or small, there's a purpose to this life inside of us all. The choice is yours, and I hope you'll see the choice to choose is the extraordinary. We're just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're all just ordinary people capable of extraordinary things. We're just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We're all just ordinary people capable of extraordinary things. Ordinary people. Ah, yes, we are. We all are ordinary people capable of extraordinary things. Every single one of us, just like Sarah Hale. Thank you all for joining me. We're going to do one more tune before we leave today. And I'm going to finish out with a song that I wrote a few years back now, about 10 years ago. It's called Put Something Good in the World. And what better song to end with than Put Something Good in the World? Because Thanksgiving isn't just about giving thanks and being grateful and being thankful for the gifts in our lives. But yes, it's also a time to reflect on those wonderful things in our lives and the people and the things that have put something good in our world, so that we can share those blessings with the world. So put something good in the world every day, even the simplest things, by saying thank you or by smiling at somebody. So. Well, paint a pretty picture for your best friend. Say hello to everybody you can. And write a friendly letter to someone you know. Wear a smile on your face wherever you go. Put something good in the world today. It wasn't there yesterday. When you learn to shine, you know you'll always be walking with the sun. We'll make up new words to a song you like to sing, and give your friend an extra push on a swing. Place a pretty flower in an empty space, and tell a funny joke that will put a smile on a sad face. Put something good in the world today. It wasn't there yesterday. When you learn to shine, you know you'll always be walking with the sun. it's always a pleasure and honor to get to read that story to an audience. So I appreciate you being here and listening tonight, this evening, and spending this evening with me. I also want to give a very, very special thank you to my assistant over here, Riley Martirano. Yes, she's saying now. Riley, say hi and thank you. Hello. Hey, thank you all very much. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and I will see you all again very soon.